In this part of the video, I'll talk about how to use Ansible to achieve automation in deployment. So there are two parts within the Ansible scripts. One is MRC and the other one is setup. Within the MRC Ansible script, run nectar.sh is used to launch the MRC Ansible scripts. And there are 5 parts within the MRC file, and we can specify how many instances we want to create and what instance flavor we want to use in the host var's MRC file. We can also specify what image we want to use, as well as which key we want to use. And we can also create security groups, and we want to specify which port we want to open, and this will apply to all instances. We can also specify the volumes that we want to create and what size we want to use. So after we have created the instances on MRC, we want to use setup to create all applications and application environments on all instances. To be able to do that, we need to specify which instance is responsible for what. And that is the only manual part within the whole Ansible automation. So after we specify the IP address to every instance, that we can launch the setup script using setup.sh file. And within the setup Ansible scripts, we have first one is to mount, which is mount the volumes, and we want to install dependencies, which will include pip, and we want to upload our source code to the mounted directory, which is in here. And we also want to add proxy to the MRC instances, to which you will use the Unimail proxy settings. And the next part is to install Docker, and this will install Docker on every instance. So after Docker is installed on all instances, we want to have CouchDB and Python Docker containers on all relevant instances, which is instance 1 to instance 3. Within the CouchDB Ansible scripts, we will first upload all relevant files, and the local.ini file is the CouchDB settings, which will enable cross-origins resource sharing on the CouchDB database, which the front-end web application will use that to access the CouchDB databases. Then we'll execute the couchdb.sh file. This file will take the IP address as argument, and this file will create the CouchDB Docker container on the instances. And next, the addNode.sh file will take a few arguments, which is the master node IP address and the current instance IP address and the size of the CouchDB cluster. The addNode.sh file will add nodes to the master file and form a cluster. So next we'll install Python Docker containers. We'll upload py.sh file, which will create Docker containers for the Python Docker file. In the Docker file, we have specified what packages we want to use, and as well as the working directory for the Python containers. So after we have installed CouchDB and Python, we want to install the front-end Docker container on the front-end instance. So for the cluster Ansible scripts, it will finish off the cluster setup on the master node, and it will create all relevant databases and as well as database views. After that, then we'll execute the Python Twitter harvesting scripts. For instance 2, we have this instance responsible for searching relevant tweets on Twitter, and for instance 3, it will stream all live tweets from Twitter. So for the master node, is responsible for saving all tweets to the CouchDB database. So these scripts will be initialized during the automation deployment in Ansible.